growing up, find myself getting involved with bad friends, shoplifting, all the wrong things, housebreaking. We didn't have people maybe like doctors, your lawyers, accountants, your pilots, or to look up to. So the people that used to have cars, flashy cars, and they used to have, good lifestyle, were criminals. So those are the people that we used to look up to. Sometimes you need money. Sometimes you have to go and take a person's life so that you can get money. The message of Islam penetrated into my heart so much that I felt that Islam was something that must be known.
When Bongi Ncane entered the reception area of Westville Prison, he thought his life was over. A career criminal, he was sentenced to 15 years for armed robbery and hijacking. He thought his life was finished, but then he managed to get his hands on a Quran, and that changed everything. Today, Maulana Saeed Ncane is going back to prison voluntarily to talk to prisoners about changing lives by accepting Islam. This is his story.
I grew up here at Umlazi Township, and that's why I also did my primary school. Both my parents are Christian. My parents didn't have a house back in the days before we were born. So the congregation gave them the church to look after. So I grew up from a church environment. Most of our locations throughout the country in South Africa, there is a problem of crime, there's problem of drugs, pregnancies and all these social ills. So I grew up from that environment. Though I was born at the church, but I was not safe from all these social ills and social problems. So growing up, find myself getting involved with bad friends, shoplifting, all the wrong things, housebreaking. We didn't have people maybe like doctors, your lawyers, accountants, your pilots, or to look up to. So the people that used to have cars, flashy cars, and they used to have, good lifestyle, were criminals. So those are the people that we used to look up to. Criminal life started when I was at the high school, where I joined bad friends. From there, I just dedicated myself into crime, your shoplifting, your housebreaking, and start meeting new criminals now with guns, and then start stealing cars, your hijacking, owning a firearm, and got involved in a lot of wrong things, Sometimes you need money. Sometimes you have to go and take a person's life so that you can get money. You hijack. I got into very, very, very serious crimes. Got in and out of prison. But I think maybe when I left school when I was doing grade 11. I completely left school because I was always, most of the time, in prison, up and down, fully involved in crime. Completely left my parents' home, went and rent to rent with my criminal friends. That's why I got involved in serious crime. And my parents really didn't want me at home because now they have a church. They are looking after a church, and me, police are always looking for me at the church. I remember one day when we stole one car. It sounds funny, but anyway, what can I say? Yeah, we stole one car and we stripped it, because once you sell a car as it is, maybe you can sell it maybe for 3,000, 5,000 rand, the entire car in those days. At one point, I remember we sold the car for 1,000 rand, because there were so many stolen cars in the location that the buyers, when the supply is more, the demand is less. So one buyer said, no, I got 1,000 rand. And then the entire car, we risk our life, but for 1,000 rand, we have to sell a car. So at this time, we stripped the car, stripped into pieces, because once we sell the entire car as it is, it's cheaper. But once you sell components, your engine and all that. So I remember one day I moved all the benches at the church at night, moved all the benches, and all the parts at the church. And I know that church will be on Sunday. So for the entire week that we can bring buyers to come and buy different parts. So I got into so much serious crime because the church is always closed. Only open Sunday when people have to. So I got into serious crimes and hitmen were looking for me, policemen. And then to give peace to my parents, I left my house. I went to stay in Gwelezane. Gwelezane maybe will be about 3 hours away from Lazi, if I'm not mistaken. So police were looking for me and all started a new life there. But new life with crime, obviously, you have to be involved in crime. So a robbery went wrong in somewhere around in Durban. So that's when we got this thing arrested, and then that's where I got sentenced into 15 years for armed robbery. So that's exactly where I got sentenced, and that's where I can also say that's where I found Islam in the prison. But before that, I remember that when I was in high school, in Chatsworth in high school, what I used to notice is that on Fridays there was a group of boys that used to leave school early on Fridays. You know? They leave school early. Then I got interested to know why these guys are leaving school early. Then I heard that no, they are Muslims. But me, I wanted an opportunity to go and steal. You know, Friday and weekends. Now I wanted an opportunity to go and steal. You know, so I somehow I befriended one guy. His name is Ali Ghaffari. So and then he introduced me to the mosque, you know, and all that. But I had no interest. My interest was just to find the permission that, because after the mosque, they don't come back to school. They got the permission just to go back home because the school closes early on Friday. So by 12 o'clock, we're leaving. But me, I don't go to the mosque. I just go to do my naughty things, you know. If I can remember, it was during the late 90s. Maybe it was 1999, 1998, around there, 1999. That's where I entered. So I've been going in and out of Westville, yeah, for different crimes. But for this armed robbery, I think I was at awaiting trial for 1.5 years, if not 2 years. So we got sentenced 15 years into prison. As I've entered the reception, because obviously at the reception you'll be asked your name, your age, you know, even your religion. And I remember that, you know, for years I was away from church. You know, nothing was ringing church in my head. But the last time I didn't encounter with something religious was having a friend, Ali. Sometimes used to go to mosque, though my attention was not at the mosque. So for some reason I said, no, I'm a Muslim. And that prison warden said, no, you don't look Muslim. There's nothing, your surname, your name, there's nothing Islamic with you. And then he just wrote his own thing, just wrote apostolic. For 1 or 2 days, you have to be at the reception when they are still looking for your uniform, your shoes and everything. And so at that time, when I was at the reception, it dawned upon me that, you know what, I felt like, you know, the world or the earth is swallowing me up. I felt like, you know, my life is over now. Maybe at that time I was maybe around 20, 25, 21, 23, around then, my age. So what happened was this: as I was there, I was thinking I'll be here for so many years. What I'll be doing here? I just need something to distract my mind, you know, and all that. So it just happened that as I was there, there's a prisoner who was going around. He was selling a thick book. Because in prison, everything in prison, anything that you can think of, it is like something of value. Anything is something of value. Because this thick book, he was selling it because it got soft paper, selling it for people to go and smoke dagga. They'll tear it and then they'll smoke dagga. I said, you know, maybe this book will help me out, you know, just to distract my mind. Such a thick book, you know. Then I asked him, you know, can you just borrow me, give me the book? And he said, no, this is prison, man. There's nothing for mahala in prison. Everything in prison, you have to pay for it, you know. Then I said, no, what if I trade this book with you with my jacket? It was a Nike jacket. I was wearing a Nike tracksuit. I said, no, take this jacket and then give me the book. Because I knew that I will only see this jacket after 15 years. So I've got nothing to lose. And then I'll be wearing green clothes. So let him take the jacket. Then he was very happy because it was a Nike jacket. He will sell it. So I said, you know what? Let me take the book. So when I opened the book, then I discovered that it's the Quran, a very thick Quran. It's written by the late Yusuf Ali. It's got your Arabic, it's got your English, and it's even got your transliteration. If you can spell or pronounce the Arabic words correctly, then you'll use your English alphabet. Yes, it's got all your footnotes and the research, where each and every verse and each and every story, then he's got all your proofs there at the footnotes, that where he got all your references and everything. That's when I got involved into Islam.
ولا أنتم عابدون ما أعبد ولا أنتم عابدون ما.
Then I opened the Quran, started reading the Quran. And normally in prison around 9 o'clock at night, your lights will go off. When the lights go off, there will be no light unless maybe there is a light at the passage that comes through the window or something in your cell. The way I was so captivated by the Quran, I remember that I read it and read it and read it and read it, even at night, because I needed something to distract myself, something positive. So alhamdulillah, that's where I really got the guidance of the Quran with no distraction. I do remember that even after reading the Quran, I went further. I even went to the library, borrowed some books. And I remember there's a Mr. Pillay, who was in Westville prison. He was the one who was a librarian, yes. So he saw that, I've got interest in reading stuff and reading, and especially religious, because I was searching for a purpose of life and all that. So he said, no, he was a Hindu by faith. Then from his home, he brought me some books, Hindu scriptures. Also, there were some priests from the Shembe church that used to come. Even the Muslim imams, they used to come in prison every Thursday. So that's when I asked the prisoners, I want to join the Muslim congregation. Then I was told on Thursdays. So there is a Muslim prison board led by, in KZN, by Maulana Saeed Ncane, the Muslim prison board. And they used to come every Thursday. That's when I took my shahada and my testimony and become a Muslim officially at the Westville prison under the Muslim prison board. As much as I read all the books when I was in prison, studying, trying to research and search for the purpose of life, but I felt in love with Islam. Yes, the Quran, that copy, I remember the copy that I had, I kept it with me, and it is still at home. The message of Islam penetrated into my heart so much that I felt that Islam was something that must be known. It must be known by everybody, even my parents, even my community. I felt that this is like a gem hidden. Why people don't know about this, that there is one creator, let's worship one creator. And I want one day to go and study and know about Islam and tell the world about this religion.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.